This is the house that Bubby and Zadie Kaplan moved into in Beit Vegan in about 1965. When they moved in, it was the end of the street, and they did not know that Beit Vegan was going to grow up around them, and this would turn into the Merkaz of Beit Vegan. As Bubby Kaplan always would say, it's hashgacha pratit, that everything was right here, so they were able to live on their own independently and stay. In the middle, they had everything: the drugstore, the grocery store, and everything around them. And right next to them was the Beit Knesset Hagra Shul that Zadie was instrumental, helpful in raising the money, and he had a wonderful idea for part of the money. He talked to the builders of the neighborhood, and he said, you made money on the people who moved into the neighborhood. Now it's your turn to partake in the mitzvah of building the Beit Knesset and giving back some of that money. In the Beit Knesset Hagra, we're looking at the Luach Zikaron, the memorial board, where Zadie's name is inscribed for all the wonderful work he did during the years he was a member in the shul here. In the lower floor of the Beit Knesset Hagra, Zadie used to come every morning after davening. He would come, return again for Kolel Balabatim, which he loved, all the shiurim. He would never miss it. Remember, Avrami, he almost didn't want to come to your wedding till he heard that it was Bein Hazmani, that he wouldn't miss his Kolel. Then he agreed to come to America to your wedding. And this is where the room is, where it was. We are now entering the house, the apartment where Bubby and Zadie Kaplan lived from 1964 or 65 when they came to Beit Vegan until the time now when Bubby was nifter, and this was home not only to Bubby and Zadie, but to many, many people that stayed here and enjoyed their hospitality, and all the grandchildren and great-grandchildren that came always for a little something that Bubby would make. She used to say, I put a little love in, please come have something, my dear. And she was always very hospitable to everybody. And this is a picture of Zadie at the Hachnasa Sefer Torah in Hagra that he initiated from a cousin of his that lived in California. And he asked her to donate a Sefer Torah to Hagra, and the entire family partook in the ceremony of the Hachnasa Sefer Torah.
Okay.
These are pictures of Zadie Kaplan's parents. This is Bubby Priva Kaplan and Zadie Shachna Kaplan. If you remember, Bubby Priva paid a lawyer to have Zadie work for him, and she paid the difference so that Zadie would have work without being Machalel Shabbos, that the lawyer would keep him. And she also gave a lot of tzedakah money. She even sent tzedakah to Europe, to all the tzedakahs. One time, Zadie was sick as a little boy, and we found a letter that was sent back to Bobby Priva wishing a refuah shlema to her son, Yisrael Isaac HaKohen Kaplan, and it was signed by the Chofetz Chaim and sent off many, many years ago. It was about 19, the beginning of the 1930s or even earlier than that. And of course the family is very proud to have such a letter. This shows Bubby's character and how she was fighting for Yiddishkeit and the ideals that she believed in always. And Zadie, when he came to Eretz Yisrael, did not stop his fight for Yiddishkeit. Even though he wasn't a practicing lawyer, but he continued to write on who is a Jew, and he sent letters to the Jerusalem Post when he was talking about Judaism and how the conservative were doing the wrong thing. And this is just a small part of all the letters that he wrote. And he fought, and he wrote a letter to the Knesset that he also, and to the chief rabbis of Jerusalem, to Rabbi Zolti and Rabbi Mashash in those days, and he told the members of the Knesset what he thought that they could use as an argument for doing the correct thing against the reform movement. And at one point he got letters back from Rabbi Porish, who was active in the Knesset in those days. And this was Zadie Yisrael Isaac Kaplan, and Bubby always gave him credit. She always said, I am today what Zadie helped me become. So now you have a little bit of background of the wonderful Zadie Yisrael Isaac Kaplan. And now that we are in the house, once again, this is the picture of the Hachnasas Sefer Torah that Zadie felt would be a living memorial to his cousin in California who had no descendants of her own.
Okay.
This is the second, what we call Bubby's secretary, where she left notes to the whole family, anything that she felt was important to help her remember. One of the last things you see hanging here is an envelope for tzedakah that she had in mind to take care of, and of course we will take care of it for her. And Bubby, beside all of these things that we know about Bubby, Bubby always said that her house would only be decorated with things that had Jewish content, with a Yiddish neshama. She never wanted a Chinese decor or a Japanese type of furnishings. She said she wanted to go only for things that had Yiddishkeit. And you see all over, she has all the pictures of the Rabbanim, Rabbi Wasserman and his wife, the Rebbetzin Wasserman, and of course a picture from the Chofetz Chaim, and many Rabbanim here, and Rabbi Yecheskel Abramsky, who was the Rav of Hagra when Bubby and Zadie came to Beit Vegan, and I believe this might be Rabbi Hyman, who is now the Rav of Hagra. And here are Svarim that Bubby collected. People gave her, Rebbetzin Shane gave Bubby many of her books, and this one, The Shining Lights, she even wrote a dedication to Bubby where she calls her my shining light. And the rest of their friendship, they had a wonderful friendship, as Bubby had with many, many people. And Bubby also decorated the walls with two pictures that Zadie used to have in his offices when he was a lawyer. She took them and brought them here to Eretz Yisrael and put them up in her front room. And of course, we also have a picture of Rabbi Cutler and Rabbi Feinstein. Bubby has labeled everything loud and clear. And among all of the Rabbanim, she also put the pictures of the family. There were many, many more, but these were events that remained very, very vibrant in her memory. This was Priva's visit, her last visit here in front of the clock, and here is Shlomo together with Bubby, and Bubby at some of the simchas of the family with the machateniste. This is Bubby Mali Isby and her other machateniste, Esther Hershowitz, and other simchas. And here is a picture of a grandson, a great-grandson, who is now serving in the in the army defending Eretz Yisrael from that point of view. And this is the wedding of a great granddaughter. This is Priva Newman's daughter, Rivka, married to Yehuda Simcha Storch. This wedding was last year in August. And this tells the tale of Bubby's life through the years. And of course, this is a beautiful saying that depicts Bubby. I have set Hashem before me always, with all of the translation in English. Shivisi Hashem lenegdi tamid. This personified Bubby. These are a set of prints that Bubby bought or was given by somebody, and she loved them so much because it's all the Jewish holidays, all the Chagim, that she framed them all alike, and this was the decoration that she wanted behind the couch in her front room because it was so important to her. And in this corner we also have an original tapestry that's a little bit faded by now, but it was important to Bubby. And here's a Mother of the Year award that was given to her by the Kaplan, Pinsky, Nussbaum families for just being a wonderful Bubby, because not only was she Bein Adam LeMokom, also Bein Adam LeChavero. She was also loved by many people, and she loved life, she loved people, and she put up as many pictures as she could. Again, these are her lovely family from America. This is myself and my sister and brothers when we were young children. Bubby kept all the cutouts of all the pictures that she could, and she has a box here. This was Zadie's esrog box with the initials Yud, Aleph, Kuf. It was made of wood, but this is what they wanted. They never bought a silver one. They had sentimental attachment to this one. And as we go further into the room, we come to more pictures, because this was Bubby's American family that couldn't be here together within Eretz Yisrael, but she loved following the progress. She's got them from the time they're little till the time that they're growing up, the most recent pictures. And to her, she loved to sit here when she would eat her breakfast and enjoy looking at the pictures. Beside these pictures, she also has plaques, again, that were given to Bubby, to Zadie Kaplan. This is from the Adas B'nai Yisrael, in appreciation of everything that he did there. And there is one here from the Telz Yeshiva in Chicago. You all know the story, how he helped make room in the Adas building to accommodate the Telz Yeshiva, even though there was much opposition to that in those days, and several other plaques that are given. And here we come to something very interesting. This is from 1912. This was given to Bubby's father, who was a gabbai in a shul in the Detroit area in those days. It's a little bit too hard to read all the inscription. Perhaps we'll make copies and we'll be able to send some out to you. And these are more collection of all the different sfarim, the books that were given to Bubby. Here's a Tehillim that was given by the Nussbaums on one of their visits, and Bubby treasured all of this. And of course, this is Bubby's famous Siddur, the Tikkun Meir, when we could no longer get a copy in Eretz Yisrael, and you see that how it's falling apart from the use. She used it, she davened Shachris, Mincha, and everything else with all of her notations. She asked from America, maybe they could find another copy to look all over, because she just loved using this Siddur. This is her special Siddur. This is just a small part of the collection of the pictures that Bubby kept from everybody, from all of the smachot as the family grew. She had B'li Hara, Kanai Hara, lots of pictures, and she used to say to everybody who came to come in, please come and enjoy and look at the pictures and help me sort them out and put them in the different books in the catalogs. Here's one I see of cousin Reb Naftali's daughter being married, and here's a wedding album of Shlomi and Dita going back just a few years. And here's one that's marked Lazarus, another wedding of another grandchild, and Dollinger, a wedding of another grandchild, and Kata. And this is the way she kept them all. She really, really loved it and enjoyed it. And people would send her, and this is more from Chutzlaritz that she had, that everybody enjoyed looking at all the times. And we just had a good time reminiscing, and it kept the family together by seeing everybody.
Okay, fine.
And as everybody in the family knows, whenever there was a simcha, Bubby would make her own Mazel Tov heart. She said, why should she spend money on somebody else's cards? She would cut out her heart and write her own message. I found these two that she had ready for the next upcoming smachot. Unfortunately, she didn't have a chance to write the message, but we all are familiar with Bubby's heart that she sent everybody. We are now standing in the room that Bubby used as her bedroom the last 2 years. And we have a picture here of Bubby and Zadie Karbel, Bubby Chayabasha and Zadie Shloime. And just a word about each of them. One story about Zadie Shloime. She used to say once somebody came to collect money for a poor person. Zadie put his hand in his pocket. He took out, he never counted it, he gave it to the person and said, they can pay me back whenever they can. He had no idea what he gave, he had no idea if he would ever get it back. And Bubby Chayabasha Karbel used to go every Friday to the grocery store, and she used to leave money with the grocer for poor families to buy their challah and their food for Shabbos, and she would tell the grocer, don't say who it's from, but either let them buy it without paying much money or reduce their account with you. This was her mitzvah for Shabbos. These were Bubby Kaplan's parents. And we have a picture here from America. This was Rami and Tamar's wedding when Bubby and Zadie were able to go. This is the wedding that was Bein Hazmanim, so Zadie wouldn't miss his kollel. And of course, everybody enjoyed being there together, the entire family that was in America at that time. And we come along to this wall where we have more pictures of family that Bubby called her family. If I may, this is the Sittners, and they used to call Bubby and Zadie aunt and uncle sometimes. And this is the Lipson family that Bubby watched them from the time they were married till the children grew up and got married themselves. And he used to say, this is my adopted grandmother. And these are also children of Rivka Wunder's daughter's children, who were, Rivka Wunder was a dear friend of my sister Esther Golda, alaha shalom, and these are her children. So these were by no means people that were actually related to Bubby, but she felt everybody was family and everybody considered her family. Here we have another picture of Ellis Yodakin's children and grandchildren together with Bubby Kaplan. It was taken on Purim, and they also called her Aunt Betty because when they came to Eretz Yisrael, they had no aunts and uncles or grandparents on their side, and the family considered themselves to be part of our extended family. This room, well, everybody who came in during the week while we were sitting Shiva said, oh, I know this room. I was here for the Shabbos of our Shever Brachas. Your parents or your mother lent us the whole apartment for our Yerech Devash, for our honeymoon weekend, or other girls that came and stayed and they couldn't believe that the lady gave up her own bedroom to have somebody else come. It had more people. At one time this was called Shlemi's room. We don't know when Shlemi ever got a chance to use it because according to what I heard, there were always people who accepted hospitality in Bubby's and Zadie's house, and this was the room that they used until the last year or two when now Bubby used this as her own room. And here we come to a picture taken in, I believe, 1993 or 94. It's not the latest one, where Bubby is seen together with the little boys that have the name Yisrael Isaac after Zadie Kaplan, Alav HaShalom. I know there's a more recent one, but so far I haven't been able to find a copy of it. Bubby had such a love for learning of Torah that she even clipped out a picture from the Jerusalem Post, I believe in 1987, where it shows a room, a Beis Medrash with a room full of boys learning. She didn't know who they were, she doesn't know which yeshiva it was, but it was important enough to put it on a wall in her house to show her love for the learning of the Torah.
Okay.
Of course, no Jewish home is complete without all the Sifrei Kodesh, all the collection that Zadie used to learn, and Bubby used to also, she had her machzerim for the different Yontarovim, for the different Chagim, and they put it together in this room, and of course, this was just a small part of the Svarim that were used by them during their lifetime. And here in my hand, you'll notice I have a copy of a Tzena Rena that belonged to Bubby's grandmother, not her mother, but her grandmother, whose name was Chaya Basha Yafi, and it's opened with her glasses. She was in Shul, Acharon Shel Pesach, when she had a fatal heart attack, and the way the glasses were left in this looks like Chumash, this is the way they brought it home from Shul, and through all the years they've preserved it, and we are fortunate enough to have it with us here in Eretz Yisrael as a remembrance of the grandmother, Chaya Basha, who was the mother of Esther Golda, who was the mother of Bubby Kaplan, Bela Kaplan. Bubby's kitchen was not only the room where she took care of our physical needs, the gashmius that we needed, where she used to say, come in and have a little something, my dear, and we would say, Bubby, how delicious is it, how did you make it? And she would say to us, I put in a little bit of love, please come have something, where we all know very well her famous fruit salad, her mandelbrot, all of her special recipes that we all enjoyed. And here on the refrigerator, Bubby kept copies of different family pictures and of cards that were sent to her throughout the years from the various members of the family. And once again, this is her warm feeling for everybody. She loved people, people loved her. She always said that it was very important to find chen in the eyes of other people, and she was grateful if that's the way it was, that people enjoyed her company and she enjoyed their company. And as I said, not only did she have the gashmias in this kitchen, but then again she continued her theme of ruchnius. Here we have a picture of the Sefer Torah and how important it is to light candles, to be ready early Erev Shabbos, no matter how hectic it was. And once again, she has a memorial tribute to Zadie. It wasn't enough of things that she did on her own. She kept including Zadie all along, all of her collection and her memories, and it's just beautiful for us to see. And as we come into the kitchen, I believe that on this wall we have something that Priva Kayla on her last visit sent to Bubby in appreciation of the time that they spent together and how much this visit meant to everybody in the family. Oh yes, Priva, was a beautiful, beautiful visit and much remembered by everybody. And the last thing that I see in the kitchen was that Bubby always had a luach, always had a calendar where on one calendar it showed all the simchas that were coming so she could send her little love notes. And here she has a letter that she wrote only a month ago, January 28th, a month before she was nifter, where she asks the English radio broadcast to please announce candle lighting time once again because they had stopped it, and she said how much she enjoyed it, and also a note about a new shiur that was being organized. She used to go to a shiur every Wednesday morning, and for her that was a Yom of Kodesh Kodashim. We were not allowed to have any other appointments or anything else that interfered with that shiur, and here she was ready to add another shiur, which unfortunately did not materialize. So this is Bobby's and Zadie's home. I know that when a chassan and kala are first married, we wish them to build a bayis ne'aman b'Yisrael. We hope that this gives everybody a little bit of insight to the bayis ne'aman b'Yisrael that Bobby and Zadie Kaplan were zoche to build, and we now have the responsibility, and it is a responsibility, to carry on in the way they would have wanted all of us. Bubby always used to say to the boys who came, be a ben Torah, gadol batorah. Those were her three famous words, be a ben gadol batorah. And to the girls she used to say about herself, I never had a Beis Yaakov education. Please teach me. I want to learn. You girls are educated. You girls have learned. Please teach me. And this is the Masorah that we hope to carry on, the legacy that we have from Bubby and Zadie Kaplan.
Ja.